Okay. Hi, y'all. I know I try to do a different format. I know it's been quite a bit. Didn't realize I got a big old knot there. But it's been a while because I know I just life happened, and the only thing I could do was, you know, go to work, do what I need to do to do what I need to do. So that's why it's been a long time since I've been trying to uh, fix this Hiawatha thing. I'm almost through with it. I looked at where I'm supposed to be. It says ghost, the famine. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm Loretta. Uh, it says in my little notes that I got, it says the ghost, the famine, the white man's foot, and Hiawatha's departure is what I'm supposed to be reading. But whenever I open the book I had, that is on the computer, so you're gonna see me more face to face than anything, and you actually are seeing me um, face to face, and I'm gonna be looking like this and probably twisting and turning and stuff because I'm trying to read it, and know by my horrible sight reading that I have done like forever. So I'm going to try to cover it up. But anyway, the story that is on the screen is give me a second, is 18. The death of wasn't wasn't wasn't. So I guess I'm gonna start with that. Okay, and this is from the story of Hiawatha. Uh, it's a continuing of the series, and if you see me with the fly swatter going like this, it's because I have annoying flies in my house. I do keep a house. It's just that they just want to, because it's hot here in the south, and where I am, uh, I have to, besides the air conditioning, I do have other things uh, going on. But today is like really hot here in town, and doing the best that I can. And these annoying flies are starting to get to me, and you will see me whopping them with this fly swatter. See, and you'll see me do that occasionally, but that's only because the stupid flies want to bug today. Okay, so let me read the story of Hiawatha. Okay, give me a second. Let me go ahead and fix this bigger where it covers up the camera. Oh, well, me look at it. Okay, so it says, uh, hey, you keep I keep crawling. Okay. The death of Kawazit. Uh, the name, the fame of Kawazit, the strong man, had spread among all the tribes of the Indians, and in all the world there was nobody who dared to wrestle or to strive with this mighty friend of Hiawatha. But the Primi, the little Primi people, the mischievous Mukpuk Wadus, plotted against Kawasan, for they were very much afraid of him, and though he could destroy them, if there, if this a great fellow goes on breaking whatever he touches, tearing things to pieces, and filling the world with wonder at his deeds, what's going to happen to us? Cried the little people. What will become of the Puck Wajis? Uh, he will step on us as if we were mushrooms. He will drive us into the water and give our bodies to the wicked Nabawa Na Nibawa brags to be eaten. And the little people plotted to murder the cruel, wicked, dangerous, heartless Kawadzin. There was one secret about Kawadzin that nobody on earth knew except himself and the clever little people. All his strength and all his weakness came from the crown on his head. Nowhere but on the crown of his head could any weapon do him harm. Even and even there nothing could hurt him except the blue seed cone that grows upon the fir tree. The little people had discovered this by their great skill in magic, and they gathered together the blue cones of the fir tree and plotted them in and piled them in great heaps upon the red rock ledges that overhung the river Takoa. Oh, sometimes I really hate these words. Taquamina. Now, there they sat and waited for Kawazan should come pass by his canoe. It was a hot summer. Oh, ironically. It was a hot summer afternoon when Kawazan, the strong man, in his birch canoe, came floating slowly down the Taquamino. The air was very still and very warm. The insects buzzed and hummed above the silent water, and the locusts sang from the dry, sweet-smelling bushes on the shore. In Quazan's Quazin, these funny words. I have to sound them out. So and this is live, and it's just weird. Kawazin, Kawazan's ear, there was a drowsy murmur, and he felt the spirits of sleep beat upon his forehead with their soft little war clubs. I see that in my head. I really want to do an illustration about that. You got these little guys that are like beating the head of him. Okay. At the first blow of his head nodded it with slumber, and at the second blow his paddle trailed motionless in the water, and the third his eyes closed, and he went to sleep, sitting bolt upright in the canoe. The warm air quivered on the water. The midges and the midges and the gnats sang on in their tiny voices, and the locust once more struck up his shrill tune by the water bank. When the essentials of the little people went scampering down the beach, calling out shrilly that Kawazit was sound asleep in his canoe and drifting nearer and nearer to the fatal red rock that overhung the river. And hold on. And all the little people climbed the rocks and peered down upon the water, waiting until Kawazin should pass beneath. At last the canoe swung sideways around the river bend and came drifting down the slow moving current as lightly as an otter leaf. Yeah, otter leaf. ALDER, otter leaf. And the little people moved the fir cones nearer to the edge and crouched there waiting. Death to Kawazid, they shouted in their little voices as the canoe glided underneath the rocks. Death to Kawazid. And they rained down showers of blue fir cones right into defenseless head of the sleeping giant. Interesting, and I'm reading it straight for here. Okay, as a boulder, as a great boulder is tipped into the stream, Kawazit tottered sideways from his canoe, struck the water with a sudden plunge that tossed the spray high into the air, and the waters closed around him with a mighty sop. Below, bottom upward, the canoe drifted down the river, and was seen or heard of Kawazin from that day to this. But his memory lived long among the Indians, who were telling their children of his great feats of strength, and showed them the boulder that Kawazid had pitched into the swift Pawanti River when he was little more than a boy. Pawanti, I kind of know where that is. That's most of these stories is up north. None of these stories are southern. But I do found some books here that are southern, so I'm gonna try to get them unless I try to or do I hadn't figured out what I want to do. Okay, let's get back to the story. Okay, sorry, I just sometimes if you've been listening, I do ramble. Okay, let's see. It says when the gales of winter toss the pine trees and roar among the branches until they groan and split the terrible noise of rendering wood, the Indians would say to one another that as they sat in their warm wigwams and listening to the wind shake the forest roots, there goes Kawadzin gathering his firewood. Okay, you're just there. I'm going to get you and... darn, I missed it. Gathering his firewood. That the country where he lives, near the big sea water, there is still many marks of his great strength that will show that any who care to see a mighty man this Kawazit was. Okay. So we got that chapter done. So now we're going to what I have written in my notes. So we're going to 19. Yeah, XIX is 19. And this is called The Ghost. Okay. And you know, this book that I'm reading from is just a retelling of the poem by Longfellow. So this is just a updated version from the 30s. I think that's what I remember. I don't want to speed. We're losing my place. Okay, well, let's see. 19, The Ghost. The vulture never drops from the heaven to seize his prey upon the desert, but some other vultures view his plunge and okay, but some other vultures view his plunge and follow swiftly. Other vultures see the second, and in a few minutes their victims find a row of them before him and the air dark with their wings. Just so do troubles come upon human beings. Not not one at the time, but to get together, until the unhappy man or woman finds the air black as midnight with their shadows. In this way, have trouble pursue the unfortunate Hiawatha. I'm going to have to use this. First, Chiabas died, murdered by evil spirits. Then Kawasit was killed as he drifted down the stream, asleep in his canoe. Then the dark winter, when the ice is bound, the rivers and trees were naked in the bitter air, another sorrow came upon Hiawatha. But before it came, he had a strange adventure, and from this he knew that he would be forced to undergo some mighty trial. Okay, if you ask, this microphone is something my husband bought. See, he bought it because he can't speak, but he wanted to try to do this, but he never got to. And this shaft that's on here is actually an old paintbrush it's a number 5, and the bristles, the head part, they were too bad, and I just took it off, and I kept this. Okay, let's get back to the story. One black wintry evening, after the sun had set, Nokomis and Minnehaha were sitting together in their wigwam, awaiting for Hiawatha to return from the hunt, when they heard light and measured footsteps in the snow, and the curtain that hung in the doorway of their lodge was slowly lifted. 2 shadowy figures entered, 2 women, who seemed strangers in the village, and without a word they took their seats in the darkest corner of the wigwam, crouching there silently and sadly, shivering in the cold. Their faces were very white, their clothes were thin and worn, and they would not answer anything that Nokomis or Hiawatha said to them. Was it the wind blowing down the smoke flue, or was it the hoot of the owl that made both Minnehaha and Hiawatha think that they heard a voice come out of the darkness say to them, "These are dead people that sit before you and share your fire. They are ghosts from the land of the hereafter, who have come to haunt you." At all events, they thought that such a voice cried out to them, and they were so much afraid when Hiawatha entered, fresh from hunting, and laid a red deer he had been carrying at the feet of Minnehaha. Never before did Hiawatha appear so handsome, and Minnehaha thought him so nobler than when he came to woo her at the waterfalls in the land of the Dakotas. Now, I do know that word, even though it's spelled funny, but I do know Dakotas. Okay. Turning, Hiawatha saw the 2 strange guests, who had not said a word when he entered, but crouched silently in the dark corner of the wigwam, with their hoods drawn over their white faces. Only their eyes gleamed like dull coals as they glazed upon the firelight. But Hiawatha did not ask a single question, though he wondered greatly and set upon preparing the deer for the evening meal. Okay, so he noticed the people and noticed the ladies, and all he could see, and again, I see the stuff in my head, and I kind of do want to make an illustration, but I'm probably going to forget to make one, and um, yeah, may have to read all these over again and just to do a illustration, but I hadn't, and I still kind of wanting to. Sorry, that fly is trying to get into my back. Oh, I, they sometimes bug me. Excuse me for a second. I'm gonna zip. I have iced tea because I'm Southern, and so I have iced tea. Okay, let's get back to the story. When the meat was ready, the two guests, still without saying a word, sprang like wolves upon from their corners, seized upon the choicest part, and the white fat that Hiawatha had saved for Minnehaha, and retreated to their positions back into the shadows of their corner. And although Hiawatha and Minnehaha and Nokomis were amazed by the strangers' actions for the strange actions of their guests, they did not show that but show that by a word or a look, but acted if nothing happened. Only Minnehaha found time to whisper to Hiawatha, "They are famished. Let them eat what they want. Let them eat what they will." Okay. Days passed, and the two strange women still sat cowering in the corner of the wigwam. But at night, when everyone slept, they went out into the gloomy forest and brought back wood and pine cones for the fire. Whenever Hiawatha returned from hunting or fishing, and the evening meal had been prepared, they would leap from the dark corners, seize the very choicest portion that had been set aside for Minnehaha, and would, without any question being asked of them, or any blame of their strange conduct, they would flit back to the darkest shadows and devour their food like hungry wolves. You know what? I'm going to start doing like what I used to do in school. I'm going to have to just, I know I jump ahead and I read 4 or 5 things ahead, and okay, yeah, ooh, fly almost got it. Okay, uh, let me see how far I am. Oh, I don't even know how far. How many minutes? I can't tell. Wait, yeah, I can. Okay, it says 23 minutes. Okay, now let's see how much. 23 minutes. So I've been reading this story for 23 minutes. Okay, let me try to finish this up. Okay. Okay. One night, however, Hiawatha laid awake, watching the embers of the fire, when he heard loud groans and sobbings, and saw the two strangers sitting bolt right out of their couches, weeping bitterly. And Hiawatha asked them, "O guests, why is it that you are so unhappy and weep together in the middle of the night? Has not Nokomis and, Minnehaha wronged you in any way or failed to treat you with proper courtesy?" The two women left off weeping and answered in low, gentle voices, "Hiawatha, we are spirits. We are souls of those who live here on earth, and we have come from the kingdom of Chibabos to warn you. Every cry of sorrow from the dead is heard in the land of spirits, and calls back those of us whom you mourn. We are much saddened by this useless sorrow that we have come from the blessed island to ask you to tell all your people what we say. Do not vex our ears with weeping, and do not lay upon our graves so many robes and kettles and wampum belts, for the spirits find these a heavy burden. Only give us food to carry with us on our journey, and see that the fire is lit for us on the 4 nights following our death. For the journey to the land of spirits takes 4 days and 4 nights, and the cheerful firelight saves us from groping in the darkness. Farewell, Hiawatha. We have put you to the great trial of and have found you brave and noble. Do not fail in the great trial and harder struggle you will shortly have to suffer. Their voices died away, and sudden darkness filled the wigwam. Hiawatha heard the rustlings of their garments as they passed by him, saw the gleam of starlight as they lifted the curtain in the doorway, and when he rekindled the fire, he found a pale, sad woman. When he rekindled the fire, he found that the pale, sad woman, his strange guest, had disappeared. Okay, I'm going to stop here on this episode, mainly because I'm ready to do something else, and this stupid fly is bugging. I got a spot. But I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to finish this episode later. I'm going to go ahead and post this, and then I'm going to do what I need to. And I'm going to try to do it with this new way of doing it. So I know I do my hair so funny. Oh, that fly. And I've been putting stuff. There's more flies in here than anything. Oh, this is because I've been opening the doors to let the animals out. Yeah, speaking about animals, Vashi and Khan had kittens a few months ago, but they all passed away. Vashi disappeared, but no problem. Chi had kittens. She's the orange ones, and she had kittens, and most all of them passed away except for 2. And then Khan had some more babies. She had 6, and I think an animal came in and took 2, so we got 4 of them left, and we have a eye problem. So we got 3 that have lost an eye. Yeah, 3 that has lost an eye. Just keep praying for us, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.